Welcome. My name's Justin Harris. It's Monday. That means Monday Musings. This is my opportunity to get on my soapbox and talk about things that are passionate to me, things that I've seen in my coaching career, that I'm dealing with my one on one clients, seeing on social media, Instagram, and hearing about from my friends. I've experienced coaching from beginners to Olympic medalists, speed and power athletes to ultra endurance athletes, runners to cyclists to triathletes to mountain adventure people. Pretty big gamut. Let's get into it. I want to talk about what everyone probably wants to know about or is curious about, and that is, how is AI going to be influencing, going to be a part of my training, maybe coaching, or how I approach what I do. Now, I'm going to go through a list of things. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I've been in this domain for a little bit, not necessarily AI, but data collection, data analysis in sport. And it's a pretty interesting domain. So, AI and training, let's get into it. All right. So, why is it interesting? Why is it a topic for me? Well, I think a year ago, I was like, I'm not really jumping in this AI stuff. I've dabbled in a little machine learning using Python, different things. I'm not a great coder, but I'm like, this is really going to be profound because I was dealing with tons and tons of spreadsheets and coaching, from collecting training data to performances to rosters to subjective measures like, how much energy do you have? What's your muscle soreness, sleep, all these different kinds of things. And it was helping my coaching directly. I tried implementing it in other teams and other locations, but my biggest kind of claim to fame was making Google spreadsheets into dynamic, real-time information. That is, you can take a survey, it would get submitted in, it would create a roster, drop down to everyone's name, and you can change like all the information and it would pop up and it would synthesize the information. Anyway, multiple spreadsheets, backends, whatever. All right. But why is this important? All right. Why is AI a thing right now? All right. In sport. Okay. And a year ago, I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, I love technology for certain things, but I'm just finding that it's really messy and noisy for a lot of my clients. And so, long story short, is I started getting people like, hey, like I put my race results or my race like thing into, or my screenshot of my splits into ChatGPT or Claude. And then I had someone who was like looking to, come on board with me. And there was like a gap from when I was working in group coaching to when their race was. And they sent me like a Claude output of like what it suggested. So more and more people are like sending me information. And the first thing was like, I'm screwed, right? Like it's going to take over because my brain works in like technology a bit. And I understand that like it's going to constantly improve and get there. But then I took an athlete I coached for 4 years or 3.5 at the time. And they went from like 347 in the marathon down to 332 at, 49 to 50 years old. Right. And longtime runner, wanted to qualify for Boston, qualified, ran Boston. Great time. I took all their information from Training Peaks, all their min, average, maxes for everything for 4 years. And I told ChatGPT to like distill it. And it distilled it. And it was like, okay. Then I'm like, it always prompts like something more. It wants you to use more tokens. And so it asks, do you want me to write a training plan? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And the training plan it wrote was based on the data was horrendous. It basically, like, week 1 of a 16-week marathon build, the long run was 18 miles. And by third week, you're at 22 miles, and then you back down to 18. So the loading structure was like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And so I talked about it in my newsletter, um, and I kind of like described what was going on there, what I prompted, and whatever. Right now, that was like almost, yeah, I think it was about a year ago I did that. Right, and so it gave me a lot of hope as a coach. Uh, so then I start using AI for like, distilling information or trying to get my like a coaching manifesto or my coaching pillars and read all my newsletters and different things, right? But keep giving people like sending me stuff on AI. And I start seeing the power. And I'm at the point where like I'm vibe coding and publishing things, like deploying them on the web. And I've built something that I'm probably going to use with most of my athletes pretty soon. Um, but more and more pops up about like coaches like developing things and whatever. And Strava has like the AI feature of like a summary of your, session, and it could be funny or playful and whatever, and it's not too far off. But um, there's different levels of what's happening here, and the big thing with AI, which I think most people miss out on, is that if you have garbage data, you'll have garbage results. And the really good thing about AI is like it sounds really smart and it sounds like it really knows what it's doing. But if you're a beginner, you're going to be like, this is amazing. Like there's some domains like now I'm a beginner and I'm asking questions. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But as someone who is experienced in this, I'm like, okay, like this is where, like if you have crappy prompts or, prompts that are a bit ignorant, it could lead you down the wrong direction. And yes, mustache. Wifey was like, I missed a mustache. Instead of like waiting till I get a beard and shaving it down, I'm in that awkward stage. So anyway, I digress. So the big thing that's going to be coming down the pipeline in the next 6 months to 2 years is everything's going to be .ai or .io or whatever. Like you're going to have AI features, and I'm even doing it myself. Okay. But where you got to like sniff out people, it's like if someone is 20 years old, like under 30 years old, like they might be tech heavy, but I don't know that they'll have all the coaching experience, right? And if you have bad data going in, which are sensors on our watches, right? Like is not the best heart rate data. Like there's so many places where it's just not accurate. HRV, resting heart rate, like these are, if you're not wearing strap and taking it and sitting down, there's so many artifacts, and I've talked about this before. So you're really going to need to look at how accurate is your data. And then even from there, is the information, are you being judged against the database average or, bell curve, like the 95% confidence interval? Because like I have 10 years of, no, 2018, 6 years of subjective questionnaires when I coached college. And I finally like cleaned up the data on those, and I put it into Claude and I said, like look at this and like how can we get some like, information out of this? And it used, like there's different models for different data sets. And, you basically, can train a model, right? And so who are you being compared against? Are you being compared against someone your age, someone who's super fit, or someone who's not fit at all? What's the population? All right, male, female, there's differences on certain things. What is your training age? Like there's so many variables that are going to come in play, and eventually they'll get better and better, but garbage in, garbage out. And I think a lot of people are going to get duped by this. And I foresee that my job is going to be, it's been explaining like the algorithms to my best ability for Apple, Whoop, Oura Ring, and Garmin, and Koros. And now it's going to be like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Manus, like whatever you're using. Now, I'll say this. I'm super excited about it because it's going to give coaches and athletes a lot more transparency. But again, if you've ever really dealt with big data sets, the number one job of a data scientist is like cleaning data and getting rid of data that is not complete, and making sure, like all the names are the same lowercase, like font, like there's like so many different things of data processing, and it gets really annoying. But you're going to want people who keep good records over time. So for like me, like I have a math test, a sub max heart rate test that I do with my runners, and a little bit my cyclists. I'm probably going to do it more with my cyclists now. And we can monitor fitness and fatigue and aerobic efficiency. And I've kept that for 3 years. And so I have that data. Now I might change how I end up running it to make it a little easier to process. But, we want to run like retests like very accurately and whatever. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit. I just got done with a hard bike ride and wolfed dinner down and came down here. But how are you using AI in your career, in your job? I'm curious about. But really, like, are you using any AI in your training? Like, what are you prompting it? What are you curious about? Um, and yeah, fill me in, because this is something where I have some exposure to it. I have some opinions, but I'm really curious at how people are using it. And if you're a coach watching this later, how are you using it? Like, I've had it update my website, distill my newsletters down. You're going to have to draw a line somewhere with AI, right? Like, because I went to a conference this past week, last week, at Marist College, my alma mater. They're very AI forward with their computer science. And you're really going to have to draw lines where like humanness happens, right? And so for me, my newsletter progression, if you haven't signed up yet, make sure you sign up. It's free, twice a month, 1st and 15th of the month, 5-minute read, talking about the art of training and different stuff. And I'm going to talk about AI a little bit more. I'm going to suss out what I'm really trying to say, but this is my first go at it. All right. But my newsletter, I do not use AI. I don't get it to generate prompts yet or things to write about. Not yet. And I might do that. But everything from start to finish when I'm writing is nothing to do with AI. Like, I'm not using it to edit, nothing. It's just me. It's my way to practice and work on it and distill my thoughts. Because sometimes it feels like I get like in deep of like prompts and back and forth. And I'm like, how did I even get here? And where is the line between me and what I'm being told, like from AI, like what's happening, right? I don't get too bent up about that, but anyway. So I'm curious. Comment, Facebook, Instagram, or Facebook and YouTube, and Instagram here. Like, how are you using AI in your training? What are you curious about? But yeah. But I've got it to like help me work on, like creating something for my website where people can figure out what stage they're at in training based on my principles, what to do about it. And then like, it's helping me like link my MailChimp and automation. And it's fucking so awesome. But my wife was like, Justin, you're like, you get these like kind of moments where you're like really in deep with stuff. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I feel like you're getting here with AI and, all this stuff. And I said, I've been bugging my IT and software developing friends for like 10 years to try to build out certain things. And I built it out in a month, vibe coding. And I'll talk about it here another time. I'm beta testing it right now on myself. I'm almost 50 days in testing it. There's some tweaks I need to make. I got a couple friends doing it and just give me feedback and whatnot, and I'll release it to, smaller batches of people, probably my clients first. It's kind of meeting the gap between like what Strava and Training Peaks are doing and what the wearables are saying, on how we can get to know ourselves. I feel like the watches aren't doing a great job with that. So anyway, how are you using AI in your training or your sport? And we'll go from there. So what's up, Pierce? What's up, Debbie? Debbie, if you're here, I'm not talking about cycling this time, or you can ask a cycling question. I'm talking about AI. And Debbie, I don't know if she's still here. She was at the conference as well, which was cool. What's up, Carly? What's up, Callan? What's up, Adam? Case, what's up, buddy? Karina Littner, and where's my flex? Karina Limbacher. You guys always like sign off like roughly at the same time. It's too funny. Hi, Debbie. Debbie, I'm curious of what you got away from that conference. What's up, Christy? Is it still snowing in South Dakota? North Dakota? South Dakota? Fargo, North Dakota. You're in North Dakota. I'm talking about AI, how you're using it in your training. My big concern is uh, that there's garbage data going in the training realm. My excitement is that there's going to be a lot more transparency, a lot of different ways to approach it, and going from there. The superior Dakota. I guess I got to go one time. So yeah, how are you using AI in your job, in training? I'm just curious about it. It was really interesting. Debbie, how was the rest of your ride? I had to be back at a certain time, so I couldn't keep stopping on our ride, but it was really nice to see you and see everyone else. It was beautiful. Or if you have any questions. Oh, Karina, what does your husband do? I'm curious. All right, so you use it to upload your graphs from TP Training Peaks. Yeah, yeah. The screenshot feature and it's like telling you what to do is I think good, but again, that's just a snapshot. And I always find like even in the data, it's like there's no one singular KPI that's gonna like be successful, right? Like some of my athletes, like the numbers are telling me one thing, and then they go out and race like amazing. Or I think things are good, but I don't know what's going on with their personal life, and they don't perform as well, and we got to manage that. So I don't know the next time I'm running a marathon, Christy, but I'll keep Fargo in mind. I use AI to crunch big number lists and data sets to get the info I want. Double click on that. I'm like, how so? Yeah, Mohawk's great. What's up, Katie? Or Kat, excuse me. Immediate feedback when I'm impatient. Ah, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna if I'm gonna like describe my clients who send me outputs, they're my least patient clients. So that tracks, Debbie. Callan, I think AI is a useful tool, but I look at it like analytics in baseball when a player is having a bad day. Can't shut off your brain. Yeah. But it has been wrong for sure and has confirmation bias for sure. Yeah. This is where like it's always going to come down to context. It's always going to come down to prompting, I think. And eventually I think it's going to be really about taste. And like even if there's AI running it. I mean, the world I see happening is like I think we're going to have agents. So we're going to have our own AI. So we're going to have our own AI local and in the cloud. So our local will be on our phone and it'll be private there and it'll see everything. And then we'll have our AI that interacts with the rest of the world. Think like your AI, like maybe like a credit card, like it's safe and whatever, and you can secure it. But you can have your AIs like do things when we're like sleeping. So like I want my AI to work with a client and like figure things out, and like we'll connect to their AI agent. This is crazy stuff. Like this is like stuff I think about. So I've actually created like a AI agent that takes my coaching principles, my pillars, and all my newsletters, And there's some things I have to like script out, but I've already built it out and running it locally on my computer just to like see what's going on. And I had my wife ask like questions that like my clients might ask, and the answers were like so spot on. Like I love it. So like providing that like kind of chat bot on my website or something where like people can like ask it questions or offer this to my like one-on-one clients as like an extra um way to like interact with me. So I think it's going to open up a lot of interesting ways to do stuff, and it's exciting. uh Christy, I don't trust AI, but do you use it? Not for workouts for sure. Yeah, I think like asking it, like build me out a 5K training plan or whatever. Like Christy, you're jumping on before a little after I said this, but I took an athlete's like 3.5 years of data training for marathons, and it like told it to distill it. It wasn't bad. And again, this is like a year ago, so it's probably even better if I do it. And I should keep testing it and asking it similar things to see how it progresses. But it gave me a training plan that would like cripple someone in 6 weeks. Karina, he's a PhD, teaches research methods, and deals with large data sets in his research. Yeah. Yeah. Run through large data sets of population data, such as referral patterns or surgical findings, to be able to try and distill down easy to view trends. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It just opens up the game. And like, whereas like you would have to send that to IT to like build it out. Like my brother works for Metro North, and during COVID, he was responsible for fumigating Grand Central. He worked in Grand Central, and this is like peak COVID, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like, I got shut down at college, coaching and whatnot, and he's like, dude, like we have two contractors coming in, like two companies, and they come in all day long. And if someone's like reported to have COVID in a certain place, and Grand Central is not only what you see. I mean, there's several stories up, and there's like 9 stories down in the ground. It's pretty crazy. Long story short, he tried to build out something with the data team to keep track of like so if someone tested positive for COVID, the next day it had to be fumigated. Then it had to be fumigated 2 weeks from then. So just think of like hundreds of rooms and like when this happens and when to keep track. So I just built them out a data set, based on date. And it was like, because he was like in Excel color coding lines, and he was just going crazy. And I was able to build out something, and he was able to like know what to do within like seconds. And I think it made him the star of the show. I was like, "Did you tell anyone that I built it?" He's like, "Nope, it's my secret sauce." Yeah, Excel time. Yeah, yeah. The workouts it spits are awful, but it's like one of these things, like Moore's law. Like the compute will get better. The training. Like they'll tweak the parameters more and more. And the other thing I think is like we have large language models, so like massive, like trillions of points to tune, and parameters and all these things. Like we're going to get smaller ones like in the billions and millions. They already have them. And so I think we're going to end up with like small language models. So like smaller ones like that are more tuned to biology or more tuned to physics or more tuned to surgery, or like a neurosurgeon one that like you can ask certain questions. And so because they'll go on like certain data sets, but again, data in needs to be good, it needs to be accurate, and that's the toughest thing. The good news is tedious tasks are easier. The bad news is we have all seen Skynet and the Terminator. Yes. So I'm curious if you guys knew this. I didn't until a few years ago when I saw and I know, well, I saw the lady talk. I think she was on Oprah or Donahue or something like that back in the day. But the lady who wrote Terminator also wrote The Matrix, and Terminator is the prequel to Matrix. So John Connor, and it was based on religious theme. So John Connor, JC, modern day Jesus, right? And so the bots are trying to kill him because they have a premonition that they can read into or something like, no, he's going to get him, and that's Neo in The Matrix. Crazy. Yeah. So you should start at the Terminator and then watch all the Matrix. But speaking of this, Agent Smith, all the agents aren't going to be people. They're going to be AI agents. Crazy. Debbie. Yeah. Yeah. I was watching. I was like, this got to be a joke, but I've seen it enough times, and I'm pretty sure I looked it up. Yeah. And she's like talking, and she's like, yeah, I wrote that or whatever. Double check it. Like, you guys, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like, I swear I saw it. Yeah. What's up, Austin? So anyway, but it will get better. It will get better on planning workouts. The thing is, though, you need to know what to ask it to do. So, are you in a volume block? Like, I was talking to a client today, and this would be so hard for AI to, anything to figure out, even like a beginner coach. I'm not trying to like do one of these. They are not enjoying higher volume, and for them, it's relative. And so last year we ran a couple halves. They didn't go great. Found out sports asthma. It was humid day, and it was whatever. But I was really trying to get her to like be aerobic, and she's like, "When's more aerobic efficient?" So like green on her runs and stuff. And she's more of a speedier person, CrossFitter kind of type deal. She has run fast, before in the half, and we're not close to it. And so basically I was like, look, I don't think you're responding well to volume, but like if we get away from this, you're not going to get faster because you're not going to be efficient. And so we like stuck with it. And after 18 months, her 3-mile run at a set heart rate went from 12:20 pace to 10:20 pace, like in 18 months. And I told her it's going to take like 18 months. It's not sexy. Sorry to hear that. Right. And so then we pulled back to like making sure we're enjoying this and did high rocks. And they did great and they felt great and their training, like their threshold was responding, like they were like feeling more confident, everything. And I'm like, look, but like our chronic training load has like decreased. So like we need to get the training load to go back up. The density of the chronic training load, we need to get it up over time. Otherwise we're going to just like kind of peter out. If like by stabilizing, we're not going to, it's not going to be a stimulus anymore. And so we had a discussion like, well, I don't really want to do it with intensity. I think it really needs to be volume. And so we, signed up for a half, and we've been doing a little bit more volume. And she's been handling it well, but like I pulled back her threshold pace a little bit. And it's like, I'm not really focused on her running fast at this event because it was more like we're doing it for training. Right. And, she's like, I just don't feel fast, on these. And I feel like I'm getting slower and it's a little bit harder, but I'm like, yeah, but there's like so much fatigue there. And it's like, not as bad as it was last time we did it. So like you can handle it more, you're confident more, and you've seen all these things. Her math test, her submaximal test, where I go 180 minus age for 3 miles. I mean, her top 4, she's done 8 of them. This build, the 4 tests have been all her best by like a lot. Like I think we're like, well, 7, 9. I think we're at like 13 or 14% better in this build than we were in the last one. So it's great. So hence tracking this information and seeing things over time, because acutely she feels like it's not working, but like I'm showing the trend and I'm like, look, like we're getting to the race. Like I'm going to unload volume. I got 3 weeks to do it, freshening up a little bit, but like whatever you run, like we're going to set up to try to run well. But the main focus of this was to like put on a volume block so that we have a higher diving board to jump off of for high rocks training. And I don't see anywhere where, prompting that. So, yeah, this is where picking workouts and different stuff. What's up, Christy? So I'll hang out for a little bit. If you guys have questions, I appreciate the interactions. We're talking about AI and training and your training and my coaching, how we're doing it, how we're using it, where companies are going. And I think it's a really exciting landscape. I think it's also a little scary. And I definitely see some big pitfalls, especially with bad data. And our wearables, GPS is fine, right? If you're wearing a heart rate band, armband or chest strap, then HR is good. Then we can really track it. But if you're wearing a watch and it's going off, like you can get erroneous stuff that like a coach will see. AI is not going to be there yet. So yeah, curious. We got race seasons coming up. London Marathon's happening. Boston's on Monday, next Monday. I should know this off the top of my head. I have athlete racing. Bike races are beginning, so I'm excited about. I wasn't going to race early season. I was going to wait to gain some fitness. I'm not in great shape. Actually, I'm kind of in poo-poo shape, but it's okay. It's all relative. But we have a local one that just popped up, and so I want to support it. A crit race. I've never done a crit race. But like gravel races are popping up, getting going. It's like spring here. So curious to what we're getting into in the next month or so. Jesus, it's halfway through April. Tax season. Ugh. Drinking a little special Riesling from Domaine Lesour in the Finger Lakes. I really like that place. Yeah. All right, Debbie. Great to see you. Thanks for jumping on. Next time you come on, think of a bike question. I'm gonna talk about bike stuff in the next couple ones. I think all my runners, got to get them to be triathletes and cyclists too. Curious what you're all up to. Facebook. Hello. You guys can chat. Pop it up. All right. Well, if no questions, I'm going to pop off, finish my pizza. Clean my bike. It was sprinkling on our ride. Take the garbage out. Take a shower. Whew. Got a lot to do. All right, y'all. Hopefully next time you see me, the stash a little thicker. And appreciate you all for jumping on. If you haven't done it yet, sign up for my newsletter. You can go to my website, jharriscoaching.fit, F-I-T. You can sign up there free. Send it out on the 1st and the 15th. Try to keep it to 5-minute reads, talk about the art of coaching and what's popping up. Karina, we got to set up some golf. I'm for reals. Unique New York. Oh, Carly. Yes, getting the kids ready for a try in 2 weeks. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I saw some transition photos, getting the kids practicing transitions. It's so cute. I love it. I did I put on a kids triathlon, and it was like the most awesome thing in the world. Except I made it not that easy. Which maybe the kids will never do triathlon again, but yes, Callan, Karina. Yeah, we're finally getting some nice weather. I got to take my wife out on the course. Get her on a legit course to teach her some of the rules, because where we play up in the Finger Lakes, it's like no holes bar. The tee box and fairway and the approach is just all real yard lawn grass, which is great for us to learn and play. And we drink a couple of beers and whack some golf balls. But I got to get her out. But on the driving range, man, she's hitting them pretty straight. Contact, no whiffs, and she's driving at like 80 in the air now and rolling to like 130. I'm like, babe, you're fine. Yeah. So Karina, maybe DM me or whatever. Let's try to set something up I say next month before Memorial Day. Let's do it. Me and my wife will come over. She'll be shy, but it'll be all right. And we'll get Callan out there, hubby, whoever, and we'll get a nice little group going. All right, word. Oh, let's see. 100-yard swim, 3-mile bike, half-mile run. That's a good distance. I love it. I love watching kids get into endurance sports, right? Like it's always ball sports and whatnot. So Carly, love watching kids do their thing. Your 4-year-old ran a 5K in Italy when you guys were there. The whole crew did it. Active family, love it. Yeah, we'll have a blast. And maybe by then I'll buy my Titleist 2-iron driving iron. I can hit my driver well at the driving range on course. It never goes where I want it to go. But when it does, it's like 280, 320. But I can hit my 2-iron like 230, 40, and in the fairway, I'm playing. All right. Later, y'all. Appreciate you. Facebook, YouTube. Sign up for my newsletter. DM me if you're watching this later. You have questions. We'll chat then. Adios, people.